If there is one thing we've learned from the last 2 years, it's how incredibly fast the world can change. So fast that it often seems as if no one had foreseen the changes. But a closer look reveals that many of the things that have happened to us in recent years were somehow predicted. Bill Gates announced back in 2015 that a global pandemic could hit us very soon.
If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus.
And even the futurologist Michael Story hinted a few years ago that there could be invasions by Russia in the near future. That's exactly why in this video, we want to take a look at the future and present you with 8 incredible predictions that could happen in this decade. Included are terrifying predictions for the EU, surprising personalities in the most important office in the world, and even extraterrestrial life. So make sure you stay tuned here at Wonderlane. Oh, and write us in the comments what you think will happen in the next 8 years. We are curious. Let's start with the prediction that sounds almost unbelievable and could possibly come true already this year, and that is about the encounter with aliens. Although no aliens will come to us on Earth, thanks to a small technical revolution, it may happen as early as this summer that we will actually see the first photographic images of planets that are very similar to Earth. These so-called exoplanets offer conditions comparable to those on Earth, and many astronomers suspect that extraterrestrial life resides on them. With the past space telescopes, there were hardly any possibilities to be able to photograph such exoplanets. But at the end of last year, NASA launched a new telescope which can look over 100 times deeper and farther into the universe than any other telescope before. As early as this summer, the new James Webb Space Telescope is expected to take pictures that show the universe from a completely new perspective. Above all, exoplanets will be recorded and examined with the telescope, and so the question of whether we really are alone in space or not could be answered soon. Next, we come to a prediction that in the eyes of many experts is only a matter of time and could change the way we humans eat forever. We're talking about in vitro meat, better known as stem cell meat. The idea behind it is simple. Instead of slaughtering animals for meat or imitating meat with some soy, pea, and grain mixtures, in the future we will grow our meat with the help of stem cells from real animals. This way, we would only have to take one stem cell from an animal and could then breed hundreds of tons of meat from it using modern biotechnology. This meat would then, unlike many of today's meat substitutes, firstly taste, smell, and look exactly like normal meat. Secondly, be just as nutritious, and thirdly, be much more ecological. In fact, the research is already very advanced. There are already dozens of prototypes, and a restaurant in Singapore has recently started selling stem cell chicken meat. Scientists are currently busy finding ways to produce stem cell meat on a large scale and bring it to the mass market. If successful, it is therefore likely that stem cell meat could replace conventional meat forever. Let us now turn to a prediction that has already partly come true and whose consequences we will all soon feel very strongly. It is about the extinction of species, which means the extinction of various endangered animal species. We all know that climate change is a major threat to our future and that of our planet. But what some people don't know is that the extinction of many animal species is even more dangerous for us and our survival, because it is not only about polar bears and a few rare tiger breeds, but about insects, bees, and many microorganisms that are involved in the most important natural processes. This includes pollination of plants and flowers, purification of air and water, or the production of oxygen. If these processes can no longer be carried out properly, life on Earth will become noticeably more difficult for us as humans as early as 2030. Since some of these developments are already irreversible, we will see humans taking over more and more tasks themselves in this decade that are otherwise already done by insects. In China, for example, people have already begun to artificially pollinate plants themselves because there are not enough bees for this task. In the not too distant future, we will also have to do without some foods that we take for granted today because plants such as the cocoa bean, vanilla, or certain types of coffee are threatened with extinction. We continue with a prediction about the future of the internet and how we will interact with technology in the coming years. And it's all about the so-called Metaverse. Some tech enthusiasts and entrepreneurs already believe that in a few years, we're all going to be meeting up with our friends with the help of virtual reality goggles and spending our free time in digital places. Not only that, Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg has even renamed his company to Meta and is investing many billions of dollars in the development of the Metaverse. But our prediction is not about the emergence of the Metaverse, it's about the fact that it will probably never appear like this, or at least not in this decade. That's because numerous journalists and experts suspect that the Metaverse isn't even ready to work the way that Mark Zuckerberg envisions it. VR glasses are still far away from natural vision because you can't focus normally with your eye, you just look at a small screen. Also, nausea from artificial movement or the heavy weight on the nose makes the Metaverse not really possible at all in the foreseeable future. The most realistic prediction made by journalist James Walsh, among others, is that Facebook as a company will probably lose more and more users and influence in the next few years and could possibly only have a fraction of the company's current value in this decade. This next prediction comes from a celebrity, but is nevertheless also considered by many experts again and again as not that improbable. We are talking about the famous podcaster Joe Rogan, who made a surprising prediction in a podcast episode from last year.
I really believe if Michelle Obama runs, she wins.
Yeah.
He said that he assumed that Michelle Obama, the wife of former President Barack Obama, could soon become the President of the United States. He explained his assumptions with the fact that Biden will most likely not seek re-election and that the Obamas have been in the public eye more recently. Moreover, she would probably be one of the most promising candidates for the Democrats, as she enjoys extreme popularity among the American population. It is even so promising that many Republicans already admitted that they would be afraid of a candidacy of the former First Lady. So far, Michelle Obama has not commented on the rumors, but either way, a new US president will most likely move into the White House soon, and there is still the possibility that Donald Trump will dare to run again. After looking at the future of the USA, we now take a look at the future of Germany, because here, the Traffic Light Coalition has decided in 2021 that it will legalize cannabis. So this change will definitely come into effect in the next few years, even if the relevant laws have not been passed yet. This will change Germany in several ways at once. On the one hand, it will decriminalize many consumers, but it will also shape Germany's city centers. This is because state licenses are expected to create coffee shops in all German cities, so the cultural impact of this legalization could be enormous. Moreover, many experts see cannabis legalization as a precursor for further legal changes. For years, there have also been discussions about whether other psychoactive substances such as mushrooms or certain psychedelics should be approved for medical purposes. The reason for this is that many modern studies have shown that such substances are effective in treating addictions, depressions, and other mental illnesses, so it might not take long until the first legal therapies with the help of psychedelic substances are also available in Germany. Let's continue with a topic that currently dominates the headlines and could also strongly influence the future of Europe and especially its neighboring countries. We're talking about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It is possible that Russia's invasion attempt will not be limited to Ukraine in the long run, because Putin has already declared several times that he dreams of a Russia that will be as big as it was in the times of the Soviet Union. Therefore, in the coming years, Putin could also try to invade other neighboring states that were part of the Soviet Union at that time. The consequences of such invasions would be devastating and could have drastic consequences for the countries. In fact, if Putin starts targeting NATO member states such as Estonia or Latvia, the whole of Europe could become embroiled in a huge conflict. Since Putin even became president for life a few years ago, a regime change in Russia in the coming decades is not really expected either. Finally, let's turn to another major conflict that could soon await us. Just as Russia had been trying for some time to make Ukraine part of its territory again, China is also trying to bring the neighboring state of Taiwan back under its rule. Taiwan is an independent, democratic country just like Ukraine, but China does not officially recognize this status. Time and time again, China has military aircraft fly over Taiwan and even send ships with soldiers to the coast of the island state. Experts suspect that China may now feel safer due to Russia's attack and is planning an invasion there as well, but it remains unclear whether this will really happen in the end. Before we end this video, it must of course be said that no one has a crystal ball, not even us, and therefore all the predictions in this video are of course only guesses. But one thing is definitely not a guess, and that is that the future will be surprising and turbulent. With this in mind, write us your predictions for the future in the comments. Let us know what you thought of the video, and if you liked it, please subscribe to our channel for more. We'll see you next time, here at Wonderlane.